Welcome to another episode of SportsVibe. I'm Arnav Sarkar. We'll be joined shortly by Jitesh Ramakrishnan. A lot to go over in the sports world. Cricket World Cup wrapping up with India getting a huge victory over South Africa. Thrilling final. Just to, I guess, recap the knockout stage, and then we'll get into some NBA free agency in the draft, some NHL free agency in the draft. All very exciting. But for the Cricket World Cup, South Africa and India definitely the two best teams in the entire tournament. Maybe not necessarily by far, but they, certainly exceeded expectations. India winning for the first time since 2011, our first international tournament since 2013, since first World Cup since 2011, first T20 World Cup since 2007, and the fourth Cricket World Cup overall. So a huge win there for India. Obviously proud as an Indian American. I know we all are. But that final is exceptional. In the semifinal, South Africa chasing down 56 from Afghanistan, bowling out the Afghanis for 56 runs in 11.5 overs. Excellent bowling there from South Africa. The fast bowlers have been insane. The spin bowlers as well. I mean, not an easy task to do that against South African, against the Afghanistan side, who, they beat Australia. They beat some of the best teams in this tournament. I mean, just absolutely sensational performances by Afghanistan, beating Bangladesh, beating Australia. I mean, their opening partnership between Ramanullah Gurbaz and Ibrahim's been great. Their bowling has been exceptional. Rashid Khan, their spin lineup has been exceptional. So definitely not a hard team to. I mean, definitely a hard team to beat. I mean, they lost a few games in the tournament by Bears, West Indies, India, but they've never been bowled out for that low in a T20, I believe. So, I mean, just exceptional performance. So, Marco Jansen, the man of the match, 3 wickets for 16 runs. Sabri Shamsi finishing off the innings in style with 3 wickets of his own from 6 runs in 1.5 overs. Henri Nortje, 2 for 7. 2 wickets for 7 runs. So yeah, just an exceptional performance there by a lot of the different South African bowlers. Just really great performance by all of them. And then I mean in the batting side, Quinton de Kock with 5, Reza Hendricks 29, Ian Markham 23. Not a crazy chase by any means, but the bowlers really did the job there. And in the other semifinal between India and England, India with the dominating win over the Brits, 171 for 7. India once again, setting a high score that the other team can chase down. They did against Australia with Rohit Sharma's 92 off 41 balls. This time against England, getting revenge for 2022. Where England chased down 170. This time, India set the high pace for 171 with Rohit Sharma once again back in action for 57 off the bat. Surya Kumar Yadav 47, Hardik Pandya 23. Those are the high scores there. Very high total. The bowling, exceptional job there. Jasprit Bumrah, one of the most talented fast bowlers in all cricket. Phil Salt's wicket early. Pretty much everyone else followed. Joss Butler fell for 23. Moeen Ali for 8. Harry Brook for 25. Already down the order. Bowled out in 16.4 overs for 103 runs, way short. And then, of course, in the final, of course, between India and South Africa, it was such a thrilling game. Really, a really very exciting game for the game of cricket. I mean, India with a big start. It was a game of tosses and turns and twists and turns, I should say. South Africa's bowling came back and struck again. Keshav Maharaj, South African, one of their spinners, took the wicket of the early wicket of Rohit Sharma early, as well as Rishabh Pant. Virat Kohli saved his best game of the tournament for the last game of the tournament, the final, and Sharma and Kohli got the innings going with some boundaries, and then Virat Kohli slowed down, studied his pace, didn't hit a boundary for a while, but made sure he kept himself in for the innings as batters fell around him. Aksar Patel, dual threat. He's played a lot of innings as a spin bowler, 47 runs, Shivam Dubey 27. So India recovering from an early start. They were 34 for 3, went all the way up to 176 for 7. So just a pretty excellent performance there from Team India. Virat Kohli staying in the crease and towards the end of his innings hit some big shots to get to 76 runs off of 59 balls, including 4 sixes, six fours, 2 sixes, and the man of the match there. You can definitely argue that the bowlers deserved it, but South Africa's innings twists and turns of their own. Reza Hendricks taken early by who else? Jasper Bumrah. Quinton de Kock, the wicketkeeper, had some big shots for fours, 1-6, 39 off of 31. Captain Aiden Markram going down for 4. Tristan Stubbs for 31. South Africa also recovered from early wicks, just like India. And what really turned the match around was Heinrich Klaassen hitting sixes left and right off spin bowling, 5 sixes, 2 fours, 50 off 27 balls. And really, after Quinton de Kock and Tristan Stubbs played good innings, Klaassen really got the equation down for South Africa. They needed a lot, but South Africa brought the equation down to 30 runs from 30 balls, and it looked like South Africa had the match in its favor, but it was not to be, as Dr. Bumrah took the wicket of Marco Jansen. The South African bowlers started falling off. But really what happened was Klaassen was taken by Hardik Pandya, bowling a ball a little bit wide of the crease, and Klaassen edged it out to Rishabh Pant, the wicketkeeper, who took him off. And so I mean, Hardik Pandya bowling, class it out, getting him to edge out behind the stumps. That was a huge out, as Klaassen probably would have won the match right there and then for South Africa. So great job there by the bowlers. Great job there by Hardik Pandya to bowl that one wide to Klaassen, just a little wide, and remove the biggest threat. Then Jasper Bumrah came in, fast bowled some wickets. Took Marco Jansen, and David Miller with 21 that was an excellent performance by him in a short 17. But he was really their last batter. Marco Jansen, probably their best batter, who was a bowler, taken for 2. David Miller, South Africa's last hope. Tough equation. Bumrah bowling so many tough deliveries that went for singles, went for no runs, and suddenly the equation became much tougher, needing, with South Africa, the Proteas needing 16 runs from the final over. That's pretty much what happened. I mean, South Africa needed 16 from 1 over. David Miller, on a full toss from Hardik Pandya to close out the innings, almost hit a shot that went way back all the way to the boundary, but Surya Kumar Yadav made the catch of the tournament, catching it in bounds. And then catching it in bounds, and before he stepped out of bounds, threw the ball up, ran out of bounds quickly to regain his footing, ran back, made the catch again to take the big wicket of David Miller. And if Miller had hit that 6, South Africa would have needed 10 from 5. Very possible with Miller on strike hitting big shots. I mean, so Surya Kumar Yadav really took that wicket, forced it bowlers, and Keshav Maharaj, not able to really get going. 2 for 7, not out. And then Sigo Rabada, who's been an excellent fast bowler in the tournament, multiple wicket games, but he was not able to do it on the batting end. Certainly, one of the better bowlers on very talented South Africa side, but ended up with 4 runs, and basically 1-4. And then Anrit Nortje with 1, but South Africa falling short by 7 runs in a very exciting final. India, the World Cup champs. Big shout out to the Indian national team for pulling that one off. That was just an incredible performance by Team India. Couldn't be happier, and just a great month of cricket. For the Indian team, for cricket in general, the U.S. really making their run. The United States really making a push to the Super 8s. A big upset over Pakistan. Definitely kind of calmed down at the end. West Indies and England chasing them down pretty easily. But I mean, even pushing teams like India, South Africa, competitive games, win over Canada, Afghanistan, making it to the semifinals with their big wins over Australia and New Zealand. West Indies falling short, Pakistan and New Zealand falling short. Yeah, in the second group stage, I mean, Australia was eliminated by big performance by both India and Afghanistan. England, got knocked out in the semis. I mean, the West Indies didn't make it, but I mean, just an excellent tournament. I mean, teams like US, Afghanistan, so many newcomers. And then in the second group stage, I mean, Afghanistan making the semifinals, the US making it to the second. I mean, we saw some great performances. And then, of course, India, Afghanistan, South Africa, and England with the excellent final between India and South Africa. India winning it all, but I mean, shout out to the batters, the middle order of India's lineup. When Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, one of them didn't get going. I mean, they had Surya Kumar Yadav, they had so many guys in the middle, Rishabh Pant, Akshar Patel, so many guys who could really pick up the slack in the middle of the order. Um, yeah, Shivam Dubey. I mean, just so many different guys who really stepped up for Team India. In the middle of the order. I mean, the bowling was really exceptional as well. Obviously, the New York pitch wasn't great for batting at all, but I mean, for Bumrah, Arshdeep Singh, Akshar Patel, so many of the names that you know, that really made a difference. I mean, it was just incredible performances by India to get over the hump. And yeah, I mean, this tournament really opened a lot of eyes to cricket. Hopefully, the game grows in the United States. I know I've become a much bigger cricket fan than I ever was. It's such an exciting game, very fast paced. I mean, yeah, that's what you like to see. So I guess I'm moving on to the next topic of our show. NBA free agency. So I mean, that's NBA free agency and the draft. We could start with the draft a little bit lackluster, but definitely Zachary Richardson, if I said his name right, going to the Hawks. Not too many, exciting. Dalton Connect going to the Lakers. I thought was very exciting. Bronny James going to the Lakers, joining his dad. I think that was exciting, getting a nice contract there. So I mean, yeah, I mean, like LeBron James re-signing with the Lakers. His son, has a deal with them. He's going to play on the South Bay Lakers. Don't connect. I think one of the best players in the draft. Great shooter, scorer. I mean, Lakers. I think really got an exciting player in there. Zach Edey going to the Grizzlies. Jerry McCain going to the Sixers. So I mean, Cam Spencer, former Rutgers, a UConn player, going to the Grizzlies. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the theme of NBA draft, a little underwhelming, but free agency so far has been outstanding as it always has. Free agency is always a really fun time, especially in the NBA. And just wanted to touch on some of the big moves. So yeah, I mean some NBA free agency moves to talk about. We got of course Paul George going to the Sixers. I think that was a huge move for the NBA. Jitesh will be joining us shortly, so we'll some free agency. But yeah, Paul George joining the Philadelphia Sixers. He's changed teams a few times. Went from the Pacers to the Thunder to the Clippers, now to the Sixers. Been pretty interesting, but yeah, I mean, Tyrese Maxey's been a baller. It's really picked up without James Harden. Sixers looking for that third star to get over the hump. They've kind of been a little lackluster, I would say. You know, so I mean, Joel Embiid's been kind of in and out with some injuries, but I think PG, Embiid, and Tyrese Maxey, I think that's going to be a good deal. So, a big contract for Paul George, making 56 million. But for the Clippers, I mean, so they'll be without Kawhi Leonard. I mean, they'll be without Paul George, and the Clippers weren't able to really get as far as they wanted to, unfortunately. But they've also been very injured. So I mean, they still have James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and Kawhi. So I mean, that was one of the big early moves in NBA free agency. And Bronny James signing 4-year deal, 7.9. 4-year deal, 7.9 million, while LeBron James returning to the Lakers on 2-year deal. I think is the exact number. Klay Thompson going to going to the Mavericks, certainly a huge move. The NBA Finals runners up in Dallas. Klay Thompson, longtime Splash brother, alongside Steph Curry. So Klay Thompson, he narrowed his down to two teams, the Lakers, and Thompson wanted to compete for fifth NBA championship. So I think that's a really good move for Thompson. I mean, for Klay Thompson, the Mavs as well. I mean, they definitely made a run to the finals. I think the West is kind of still wide open. I mean, the Wolves are impressive, Nuggets, but I mean the Mavs. Luka and Kyrie were really doing a good job, and they got the big men. They got the big men and the bench to really kind of back it up this year, which they never had. So I mean, a sharpshooter like Klay Thompson, he's gonna, he's mostly for catch and shoot. I mean, he's gonna have so many opportunities for catch and shoot threes. I mean, Kyrie Irving, the best dribblers, handlers in the game. He can get his own shot. Luka can certainly get his own shot. So I mean, Klay Thompson, making his decision, probably saving some money in Texas, and you know, I'm gonna add Jitesh in. Yeah, so we're basically just talking about NBA free agency so far. I got through
Yeah,
the Cricket
yeah.
World Cup
I heard you on Clay.
review. Yeah, basically the
Well,
big moves, like I was getting to, Paul George going to the Sixers, Klay Thompson going
overrated.
to the Mavericks, touching on that one.
Sneaky good signing.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think both of them can be pretty good moves.
I mean,
I
I'll
think
tell you
Klay
what.
Thompson to the Mavs is certainly
I'll tell you what I
interesting
think is
one,
the.
but
I'll I'll tell you what I think is the
yeah, I mean,
best
I think
signing in
that's
the.
certainly Klay Thompson to the Mavs is certainly an interesting one for sure, because I think he definitely get a lot of open shots with Kyrie and Luka kicking into them to him. Some of the best. Kyrie's one of the best ball handlers in the game. And definitely for other
And
players,
he's
Luka,
also one of the
Doncic, both of them
and
are
he's also
capable
one of the best
scorers. They could
turnover
definitely pass
creators in
it
the NBA.
to play, and I think it's a good opportunity for Klay Thompson to compete for a championship, while also the Mavericks to kind of build on what they've built up here with the big men, the bench, the two superstars. I mean, it never hurts to have too much shooting, especially in this NBA. And I think with the way they're created, another guard like Thompson can really, make a
I'll tell
difference
you
for
what I
that
think
team. I
is
mean, if
the
they have them all
I'll
completely
tell
out
you what I think
together,
is the
but
best signing in the playoffs.
whether they have them all together, they don't have them all together, but you know, they can even go one deep, have one on the bench, or they could do it either way. They could have Klay Thompson on the bench. They could have two of them together. They could, I mean, you just don't. There's different possibilities out there. So I mean, yeah, Klay Thompson certainly a huge addition to the Mavericks. 3 years, 50 million. I think it's a good deal. Yeah, like I said, I mean, definitely a lot of open shots. They can get they can get Klay for sure. If he's on with Luca, if he's on with Kyrie, both. I think Paul George. I think a great move to get to Philadelphia. So I think combining him with Maxey and combining him with Embiid, I think that could be a good duo. They all stay healthy. And Paul
That's not
George
going to
isn't
happen.
quite the same as he is.
No,
As he was a few years ago. But I mean, yeah. But I mean, like I still think it could be a good move for the Sixers. They're kind of stuck in purgatory. If they're all healthy, I think they could probably pull it off. But I think those are two of the bigger ones. Klay Thompson to the Mavs, Paul George to the Sixers. I mean, LeBron James returning to the Lakers with his son. Bronny James don't connect. I think this is a pretty good free agency so far for the Lakers combined with the draft. I mean, obviously, LeBron's son is a good move. He might be more of a developmental piece, but also don't connect. I think solid player, one of the best in college. And then
one of the
Torian Prince
best.
going to the Bucks, 1 year deal. I mean, I think that's a pretty good move. Another contender. Yeah, I mean, Isaiah Hartenstein going to the Thunder, I think that's a big move because the Knicks probably going to be looking for a center. A lot of moves. Joel Ingles going to the Timberwolves, Alec Burks going to the Heat, PJ Dozier going to the T Wolves after 1 year in Serbia. That's very interesting. See the Warriors in discussion to acquire Buddy Hield. Yeah, I mean Jonathan Isaac reaching an extension with the Magic. I think that's huge. I mean he's been a good player for them for a long time. I guess that's just to go back to the Celtics. I mean they re-signed Jason Tatum for the biggest contract in NBA history. 5 years, 314 million. So now they're paying him and Jaylen Brown a lot of money. But I mean they just won the championship. That's obviously it's a really good move. For Boston. And then Xavier Tillman returning to them as well. Mo Wagner to the staying with the Magic. James Wiseman signing with the Pacers. I think that's very interesting. Number 2 overall pick from the Warriors. Pacers also had a good playoff. I mean, they could definitely use another center. Mo Bamba to the club. So that's interesting. As he went to the Clippers. Paul George going to the Sixers. Yeah, I mean, I'm reading all of these off, but I mean that's pretty much all the major moves. Chris Dunn going to the Clippers as well. And then the Warriors saying goodbye to Klay Thompson, but I mean Donovan Mitchell signing a huge extension with the Cavs, 3-year, $150 million deal. I think that's huge. So I mean that ends a lot of speculation. A lot of people thought that he might be on the Nets or going to the Nets.
That was ever going to happen.
Not to be the case.
I don't think that was ever going to happen, anyways.
Him going to the Nets. Yeah, probably not. Yeah, probably not. But
Mitchell was never going to go to the Nets. I mean, come on. No one wants to. No, just stop thinking everyone's going to go to the Nets, man. That's not going to happen right now. Sure.
Yeah, no, it's just fandom. But a lot of people were saying that he was, but I mean, he was thinking about it. But no, I mean, I think Cleveland, that's a good fit for him. I mean, they might be a little bit out of contending, but they're still in a much better position than the Nets. But I mean, contract 3 years, 150.3. I mean, he's certainly a good player. I mean, I think he was definitely flirting with New York, whether it be the Knicks or the Nets, because obviously his dad's ties to the New York Mets. But also just I think he wanted to be in the Knicks too for a while, and then people are saying the Nets. But I mean, I like him. I like him on the Cavs. I would definitely like him on the Nets. But I mean, I think it's a move. I think we can kind of get rid of that theory. But
I think the I will say, this free agency. I mean, granted, this happens every free agency, but there's been an awful lot of money thrown at people who aren't really all that great. I mean, Scotty Barnes is a good player, but is he really worth more than $200 million? Hell no. I mean, but then again, who else is balling out in Toronto aside from Scotty Barnes? So kind of didn't have a choice right there. I mean, there's some justifiable contracts in the market, like Pascal Siakam. That's a justifiable contract right there. I mean, he's getting around $30 million a year. That's reasonable. And then, but there's a lot of overpaying in the market. Again, I forget. Let's see, yeah, but Scotty Barnes, for example, getting 240. I think that's a ridiculous
yeah, that was
deal.
crazy. Yeah.
I mean, but I think the best, and of course, old man LeBron. I mean, here you were 3 days ago saying you'd gladly take a pay cut to bring in a star or whatever, and here you go sign a 2-year extension, $50 million annual. That doesn't exactly scream taking a discount to me, and also the nepotism of basically blackmailing JJ Redick and Rob Pelinka to draft your son, even though he isn't that good. I mean, I will say this: if I average 4 points per game in college, I can almost guarantee you for sure I would not be drafted. I can almost
Yeah.
guarantee it. It's only
No
because
one would
he's
have been
got LeBron's
drafted
name.
with
That's
his stats other than him.
no, and also because
Yeah, it's
his
definitely because
dad,
he was.
yeah, and like LeBron and JJ, the podcast buddies, are now officially a head coach and are
Hmm.
now head coach and player. I mean, the Lakers. You know what the Lakers are? They're a purple and gold clown show. That's what they are. Just a circus. They're a circus with multiple ringleaders. LeBron, of course, being the main attraction, alongside with JJ Redick being a co-main attraction. Rob
Hmm.
Pelinka basically being a manipulated doofus, and then the entire Bus family too. So the Lakers are just a clown show, and somehow they're bigger clowns than the Clippers. And I don't know how, but the Lakers are basically turned into they've basically turned into a reality TV show. But anyways, before I get sidetracked, I think the best move of free agency was the Thunder getting Isaiah Hartenstein for um
It's a
for
good
3 years
move.
for
Yeah.
roughly $30 million a year. I think that was the best move of this free agency period, without any question, because the Thunder were, I mean, they're all babies pretty much. Like they have like one of the youngest rosters in the league. They went to the second round. They were just right there. Just a couple of games in their that didn't go in their favor, and they would have gone to the conference finals. And now they add veteran experience. I mean, is Alex Caruso a great veteran experience? Possibly, maybe we'll see. But Isaiah Hartenstein, he's a tower. He can snipe. He can play defense. He's established his will on the perimeter, and really, like he adds another reliable shooting source for the Thunder. So this could definitely be a move that can push them to the finals next year. Of course, the main contenders in the West for the finals, it's going to be a bloodbath. You have the Nuggets. You got the reigning Western Conference champs, the Mavs. You got the Thunder. Um, Clippers are dead, pretty much. The Suns are dead. Lakers are a clown show. Can't take them seriously. So really, there's three main contenders. Oh wait, and the Wolves. Yeah, I don't know how I forgot the Wolves. So there's
Well, the
four main
Wolves will fire.
contenders.
Yeah.
It's going to be a bloodbath between Minnesota, Denver, Dallas, and Oklahoma City. That's your
Right.
main. That's the big four right there
Yeah.
in the West. So and it like last year, it's fair to say Oklahoma City was probably. I mean, like if we're going into the playoffs, I mean, I'm not evaluating on results because obviously Dallas proved to be the best team out of the four. But going into the playoffs last year, I thought I thought Oklahoma City was the second best team going in the West, like aside from Denver. So my ranking would have been like Denver one, Oklahoma City two, Dallas three, and Minnesota four. Now, with the addition of Hartenstein and Denver losing KCP, I think that's a big move Denver's going to miss because they didn't really sign anyone to replace KCP. This is back to back years where they've lost a crucial piece off their bench. The previous year after their championship window, they lost Chris Brown, and now they've lost KCP. But KCP is definitely the bigger loss because I mean, of course, Bruce Brown was facilitating the offense off the bench 2 years ago. I mean, well, during their finals run, KCP was there with the veteran leadership, always dependable, played good defense, and could. I mean, he was also pretty darn good shooting at three. So KCP going will definitely be a big miss for the Nuggets. So I think uh,
Mhm.
Oklahoma City possibly might be the top dog in the West right now. I mean, if I were to say go into the same four, assuming those four teams finish top four in seeding, um, I would probably still put Oklahoma City at two because you kind of can't really take down the reigning champs, especially when they got stronger on the bench or yeah, I mean they did get sure they lost Eric Jones Jr., but they still have a pretty strong bench um, and of course Clay Thompson. I assume he's going to be the starting shooting guard. I mean, it's been said the
Yeah, for
main reason.
Dallas. Yeah.
No, it's been said the main reason he left the Warriors was because he didn't want to be like coming off the bench, and frankly, I can understand that because everyone in like the big cornerstones of the Warriors dynasty is they got massive contracts like after their four championship, especially Draymond. And uh, is it disrespectful to Clay? Absolutely. But are the Warriors right in lowballing him?
Mm,
No. But at the same time, if you look at Clay's last game as the Warrior during that stupid playing game, he was 0 for 10. Like, so,
yeah,
and
he just didn't really have a
that's
great season until he came
and
off the
that
bench, and then he was,
yeah, that's
you
the
know,
majority of the season last year. Clay wasn't exactly playing well, so I could see why the
yeah,
Warriors
I
did
don't
that,
know.
but it's I don't really agree with the move as a whole. But
Yeah, I
going
mean,
back
still would
to
have liked him to be there, but yeah.
yeah, but going back to the top four, so I would put Dallas at one because again, you went to the NBA Finals for a reason, and also you had a Clay freaking Thompson. Like, sure,
I know. Good move.
He may not be
Not a
the
lot of
Clay
open
freaking
shots
Thompson of 5 6 years
too
ago,
now, so
but he's still Clay freaking Thompson.
right,
And
yeah.
um, so let's see who else. So I'd put them at one. I would probably shift Oklahoma. I'd probably keep Oklahoma at two. I'd probably slide Denver down to three because, again, didn't really make a move to replace to fill in the KCP sized hole. And
Right.
as for the Wolves, I mean, sure, it's a bit strange that I'm putting the Nuggets over the Wolves when the Wolves um, beat them in the second
Beat the
round. But
Nuggets.
um, yeah, yeah, the Wolves beat the Nuggets. But I still think like I don't know. I still trust Denver. I don't know if I can say trust, but I still think Denver is a little bit more of an unbreakable team in the playoffs rather than Minnesota.
Yeah,
That's what I think. I mean, again, that's what I said going into the second round this year, and well, I was proved wrong by Minnesota, so I could be very well wrong on that. But I still think Oklahoma is the best, if not the second best team in the West.
yeah, I could see that. I mean, I kind of like your already obviously adding Clay to the Mavs. I mean, yeah, it's been saying like adding a shooter to that with those dynamic guards and big men. It's like you're adding more to an already great lineup. And then Oklahoma City, I think with Hartenstein, adding him to their young roster with Shea Gilgeous and just young stars. I mean, they're already good. I think they're only going to get better. I mean, Hartenstein was like an absolute he was like a dog for the Knicks. Like rebounding, all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's just going to be huge. And then yeah, Denver's Denver. I mean, they're not going anywhere. Jokic and Murray. I mean, yeah, they didn't do anything to replace Casey. But they have some of the other bench players and other starters. They still have Porter. They still have Christian Brown. They still have like all the rest of their lineup too to go with it. So I mean,
And
they don't want to
and
just see the
assuming
Wolves.
and
Yeah, sorry, go
assuming
ahead.
Michael Porter Jr. doesn't suck for an entire 7 game series, Denver could have very well been in the Western Conference Finals yet again.
Right. That series was so bizarre with all the games being like blowouts in one direction or the other. But and then Game 7 was close. But yeah, I mean, they were still kind of in some ways right there. And yeah, I mean, they still got MPJ and Christian Brown and I mean, what DeAndre Jordan. I mean, still have like most of their team. I can't think of all their bench pieces. I mean, Bruce Brown's all gone, but I mean, yeah, they have as long as they have Yoki and it's a good starting five and some bench pieces. I mean, they're not going anywhere. I kind of hope the Wolves aren't like a 1 year team. I really do. That
I
they
don't
out
think
of like any team had energy and excitement. I felt like and just going away they did to the Mavs and 5 close but quiet games. I really hope they come back and better. I mean, and where it's Carl Towns, Rudy Gobert. I mean, it just really worked with them. I really don't want them to go anywhere. I want them to be able to really
I
compete
think
for
they'll be
Western
just
Conference.
fine.
I mean, I really hope that is enough. Yeah, I think they'll still be in the top 4, which is good. Good for them. So yeah. Yeah. I mean, so what do you think about like the East? If you had to do the same thing for the East, like come up with
Well, I
the
mean,
4 top teams.
Boston basically brought back their entire team, so mission accomplished there.
They're definitely number 1, undisputed number 1.
Yeah. Indiana,
And then behind
Indiana
them,
and Cleveland, I'd probably swap. They could both could be made for arguments for 2 and 3. I mean, really, Indiana, their main priority was just bringing back. I don't know why I said KCP. Bringing back Pascal Siakam, and they did that. I mean, the loss
Right.
of Obi Toppin might be a little bit more noticeable for the Pacers, but if anything, the Pacers have shown, like throughout last year's playoffs, that even when they're a man down, they're still scrappy. They're still able to play competitively. Be. They're still able to fight and show tenacity for every single possession. So I think the Pacers will be just fine. Cleveland, Cleveland at three. I think that's a good spot. I mean, is $50 million a bit too much for Donovan Mitchell? Maybe slightly, but it's not that much of a gross overpay. Uh, and Milwaukee didn't really do much in free agency, but you know, assuming you got a healthy Dame, a healthy Giannis, healthy Middleton, they will still be extremely formidable in the East. Put them at four. Orlando, I'd keep at five. Yeah, Orlando, I'd say stays at five. Um,
That's fair. And then the next Philly
oh crap, I forgot
after
about the
that.
Knicks
I
in
don't know.
Philadelphia. Oh, I just realized I was just listing the Boston opponents for the second and third round. Okay, let me reevaluate this. Shit. All right. But the Knicks are definitely not the two seed. I can tell you that because they didn't really make a move to replace Hartenstein, so they're gonna drop down a few ranks.
Mm,
Philadelphia, sure. Philadelphia, congratulations. You signed a perennial choker who hasn't achieved anything in 10 years.
eh,
Um, and Embiid is still getting older. His legs are still made of candy canes. Um, Tyrese Maxey was Tyrese Maxey was a good extension. I'll give them that.
Tyrese
I'll
Maxey
give
is solid. He's solid.
and
He's gotten so
that's
much
who
better than like gone
that's
to
who roughly
even.
$40 million for someone of Maxey's caliber. I mean, is he Steph Curry? No, but can Maxey be an efficient and elite playmaker for Philadelphia? Absolutely. So, $40 million for
Oh yeah.
Maxey. Maybe it's a slight overpay, but not by much. But so, I mean, regardless, Philadelphia are still frauds, and maybe that's the hatred of
Mm,
the Sixers speaking in me. But um, you know what? Okay, so assuming let's see, assuming um, I guess we have to assume healthy teams, right? Yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
I would say so.
healthy or not, the Sixers still suck. But so Boston would still be at one.
Second round, I guess.
Um, yeah,
Yeah,
Boston would still be at one. Milwaukee would be at two.
yeah.
I'd probably put Philadelphia over the Knicks, honestly. But I don't think either of those teams.
I think with Paul George edition, yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
would
but
probably say
they're
so.
still not going to the conference finals
They're
next year.
still
I'll
not
bet you
really
money.
good. Yeah,
I'll no, I'll bet you
yeah.
Jonte Porter
The
money
Knicks
on
could
that.
probably make it
Um,
there though.
I'll bet you Jonte Porter money that the Sixers aren't making it
Eh,
to the conference finals next year. So, assuming fully healthy teams, probably put the Sixers at three. Um, I'd probably I'd put the Pacers at four, honestly. Then the Knicks at five, and then uh, Orlando at six. I
gotcha.
mean, again, keep in mind,
Yeah,
like keep in mind, seeds two through six in the East last year were all pretty much separated by like three wins. So
yeah,
it's not exact. I don't exactly think it's outrageous to say that right now that a team like I don't think it's exactly outrageous to say like you know it's not exactly that close of a call. And Cleveland is also right there in the mix too. So like the East, are they as are they as lethal as the top four teams in the West? Probably not. Is it more balanced in the East? Seeds two through seven, absolutely. So yeah. So I guess I'll try to run it down one more time and see if I even remember the correct order I said it. So Boston would be at one, um, Milwaukee at two, Philadelphia at three, um, Indiana at four. I guess the Knicks at five, probably Cleveland at six, Orlando at seven, and I guess by default Miami at eight because no one else in the East seems to
yeah. That's
no one else in the East seems to care about playing basketball. especially with the Trey Young trade. Especially with the Trey Young trade, like Atlanta's not going to have their perennial play-in spot. So, and the Bulls are well, ever since ever since Jerry Reinsdorf stopped
Wait,
caring about winning, the Bulls have stopped caring as a franchise as a whole. So they don't count. Charlotte Hornets, no one cares, and why should they? So the Nets,
mm-hmm.
well, you got ways to go.
Well,
Um,
yeah. I'm glad
yeah,
though.
but
They're rebuilding. I think they finally chose a direction that did want
no,
to
they finally chose.
talk about that the Mikal Bridges trade to the Knicks. I think it's a win-win for both teams. I mean, an overpay for the Knicks, I would say for 5 first rounders, like 4 from the
Yeah,
Knicks is an
well,
overpay.
if
But I
the
think they can afford to do it
well,
and
I
unite
mean,
the Villanovas. But yeah,
here's the thing: basketball first round picks have significantly less meaning than hockey first round picks, or even baseball first round picks, or football first round picks. But the problem is when you stack those first round picks together, you can kind of create a domino sequence. I mean, you yourself have seen this twice now, um,
hmm
and twice it's not exactly gone in your favor for obvious reasons. Um,
yeah.
so let's see. I'm
Second
I'm
time was
forgetting a
close,
couple
but
teams in the
yeah.
East too, but it doesn't matter at this point. So I'd say
The
basically,
Raptor, yeah. I mean, the bottom five are like all like just not good. I mean, even the bottom seven, really. Even the
I,
playing teams aren't like that great either.
well,
They're not good at all.
the
So
playing teams are not playoff contenders. It's as simple as that. But oh yeah, the Pistons.
right, and
Well,
then the teams below, yeah.
if the Pistons
Charlotte,
get 25
Atlanta.
wins, if the Pistons get 25 wins next year, I'll be happy for them. Oh yeah, Cade Cunningham. I mean, listen, is Cade Cunningham good? Yes. Is he $226 million over 5 years good? Am I the only one thinking no? Because again, what's with all these significant contracts? I, I don't get it. Like, what's going to happen in 10 years?
Mm,
Someone's going to get $1 billion contract. Like, I don't
maybe.
understand the scaling of these pay grades. I really don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they just don't have anyone else to spend it on. But I mean, yeah, as for the Nets perspective, I think it's fine for the Knicks. I mean, it's expensive, but at the same time, I mean, I think they're really pushing their contention window and uniting the Nova Knicks. I mean, Mikal Bridges is a good player for their system. He plays every game, and Tibbs is probably gonna test the
Oh, yeah,
limits to that. To be
Bridges,
honest, but
Mikal Bridges is like the healthiest player in the NBA. I don't think he's missed a game in like what
yeah,
5 6 years.
Iron Man streak. Yeah, he's played like every game, I think, 5, 6 years. He even played 83 games in an 82-game season after being traded from the Suns. So it's just
That's
like,
right. That's right.
yeah, we'll see how long that lasts when he's on the Knicks. But it's good health because I mean a lot of their players are injured. If they can get back and healthy, I mean I think they with Julius Randle and all their guys, I
Spe-
think they are also
Speaking
going
of
to be
which,
one of the contenders in the East.
OG was an overpay.
Mm-hmm.
Is he a good
Yeah, they
talent?
did keep him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like I said, they're definitely overpaying. I think for them, I think it's important to build on,
I mean,
what they're
Jalen
what they're
Brunson is
doing.
underpaid. Jalen Brunson is underpaid. But well, you signed that
Yeah,
contract, and
I agree.
OG basically got a dump truck of cash more than you, so kind of can't complain there. But then again,
That's fair.
If Jalen didn't take a discount there, OG probably could have walked for nothing. So I guess in
Right,
hindsight, if the Knicks do win a championship in the next 2 3 years, it's worth it.
right. That seems to be like their idea right now. They're going all in. The Nets are going all out. I think it's a great idea. Because like before they were kind of like middling, and the middling was getting worse. Like they went from like a team to at least make the playoffs, like whatever it was, like losing the first round. Then they like not if you can't make the play in the East when the bottom three teams in the East are just like hot garbage. Like it's just really bad. I mean, like you're telling me you can't be top 10. So it's a good thing they're rebuilding the right way. I think it's long overdue that they chose a direction. I was kind of hoping maybe they, like I said, get Donovan Mitchell and pair him, but I think this way is a lot better. Only picks now. And, with the five from the Knicks and the Rockets, they're getting some of their picks back from
You
them.
still have to
I think
hit
the
on the
Rockets are
picks,
trying to
though.
free up some space for KD. Yeah, well, I still have to hate on the Knicks. I mean,
No,
yes,
no,
because like their
no. I said
losses benefit us,
no,
but
no, no. I said you still have to hit on the picks.
oh, well, obviously that. And the thing is the draft lottery. I mean, there's so many stars, but if the Nets like end up fifth or sixth, then it like kind of backfires. And we saw like what happened with the Hawks like swooping in this year. But this year the picks weren't that good. I mean, next year Cooper Flag, I mean Ace Bailey, Dylan Harper gonna have a great season at Rutgers and go to the NBA. So that should be really fun to watch too. But I mean, they do have to hit the picks. That's no guarantee. But I mean, they have so many of them. I think it's just a good deal. It's just like something that the Nets just haven't done for a while, and they finally decided they had to do it, and they're going to be pretty bad for the next few years, and like it's it's going to be pretty bad. It might but I mean Cam Thomas is probably going to put on a show, so that should be fun to
At least
watch.
the
But I
tickets
mean,
will be
other than
cheap.
that, it's not going to be exactly. You can get to
Well,
Barclays,
cheap, well,
enjoy.
cheap for New York
Um,
standards.
yeah,
Cheap for New York
Nets
standards.
tickets are Nets tickets are still like way cheaper than Knicks just now, even when
Of
they're
course they
good.
are.
So it's just it's a Gordon tax, but I'm sure they're still relatively more expensive than like other places. But yeah,
The
no, I mean
Madison
I'm
Square Garden.
excited for that. When I saw that trade, I was just like ecstatic. I was just like, yes, that sounds perfect. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, this also really works out for the Knicks. Like their fans are really happy. Our fans are probably as happy, maybe even more happy. So I like it. It's rare when you see a trade that works that well for both teams. I think they hit it off really well. But
Well,
yeah, I mean
we'll
that's pretty
about,
much how the NBA goes.
it's probably safe to evaluate this trade in say 5 years or so because right now it looks like the
Yeah,
Knicks
we'll
win
have
the
to
trade
see if the
because
Knicks win a championship. Right. Yeah, right now it looks really great for both teams. Like, it'll be interesting to see if it pushes the Knicks over the top, if the Nets actually get their rebuild right this time. And I mean, like how long that takes. Like I really hope I mean it can't like not work because well, I mean I guess it could not. I mean, because they're gutting it so badly, like it's gonna have to come back up at some point, but God knows when, but it could be 2, 3 years. And then they're also gonna have a lot of cap space. So once they start getting the picks, I guess they can start looking for stars again. But with some caution. But it's a long way away. I'm excited they're kind of just building it up and seeing where that goes. Hopefully, the draft picks start things up. But we'll see. I mean, they might end up becoming like NBA champions in 2030 or 2034. Like took the Celtics like 10 years after their trade. So you never
I
know
mean
what happens, right?
I
Like
mean
the Thunder, yeah.
The Celtics could have potentially had it as early as 7 years ago, and that was without
2020.
Jason. That was without Jason Tatum. The thing is, it took a long time for the nucleus to truly be built, and of course, some sacrifices
Right.
had to be made. Most notably, Marcus Smart. Essentially,
Yeah.
Marcus Smart and Rob Williams for Kristaps Porzingis and Drew
Oh,
Holiday,
yeah.
and of course,
Right.
while they may not have won the championship with the Celtics this year, the mark they left on the Boston Celtics and their contributions certainly have certainly has made Jalen Brown, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, Derek White all champions. So it's impossible. It cannot like the accomplishments of Smart and and uh, and Rob cannot be overlooked because they left an identity with the Celtics. But again, it'll definitely take. I mean, if the Nets do win a championship, if um, it'll certainly take time
Hopefully one
for
day.
it'll certainly take a lot of time for that team to develop like some chemistry, an identity, a representation. So you probably give it probably give it a good couple of years, if not minimum. Just spitballing here, 2032.
Yeah, I would say that's about right. Like, 'cause a lot has to go right. They gotta get players, they gotta draft them, then they gotta add the stars, and they have to do it right because it would have honestly been a lot easier if the whole Katie, Kyrie, Harden thing worked out. And it's
Or
crazy that like a million things
or
went
if
wrong, and if one of them went right,
Durant had
it would
half a
yeah.
smaller
If his
shoe
shoe size
size.
was right, that's all it would have taken. I mean, even with an injured Kyrie and Harden, but I guess it just wasn't meant to be. So sometimes you have to do it the long way. I mean, yeah, but like I said, that sometimes that does work better than kind of manufacturing superstars. The way the NBA is nowadays, I mean, a lot of the best teams are the teams that are built up from the ground up. and like the Nuggets. Like the team chemistry is more important. Than they have a couple guys that are stars. So yeah, we'll see. The Thunder are probably on the fast track where of the Nets basically with all their picks, and it's working out for them like a lot earlier maybe than people expected. So I feel like that's kind of what the Nets going to be looking towards now that they've kind of picked that kind of plan.
Well,
but yeah,
yeah.
we'll see. I
If you
mean, we'll
look
see.
if you look at all the main contenders right now, I mean, we can just end it off after this, but it's like if you look at all the main contenders right now, all of them have taken a while to build their identity, uh, almost solely through the draft. I mean, yes, there have been big free agency slash trade splashes, but if you look at where most of these teams are right now, it's because they have the status where they are pretty much solely through the draft. Look at the defending champion Boston Celtics. I mean, of course, courtesy of Christmas presents from Brooklyn. And then let's see, look at Denver. Like Denver's another good example. Perhaps the best
Hmm.
example is Oklahoma City because Oklahoma City basically turned everything into a fire sale after 2019, and everyone thought they were going to be hot garbage, and surprisingly, they weren't all that garbage. It, I mean, were they the Oklahoma City of 2012? No. Like let's be real here. But it took time, just a few years. They hit on the draft picks. Lo and behold, the Thunder are finals contenders once again for the first, or well, true finals contenders for the first time in roughly 8 years. Um, let's see what else. Who else right now? Like even Minnesota right now. Like Minnesota and Dallas, they've built mainly through the draft. I mean, of course, Dallas got Kyrie in free agency. Now they got Klay Thompson in a sign and trade. But still, majority of the team is there through drafting. Same with Minnesota. Minnesota's big exception is Rudy Gobert. So yeah, like stick to drafting. Don't try and trade away a million draft picks for an aging superstar and be disappointed by an exit in the second round. Embrace the suck for a few years.
Yeah,
Draft well.
it's happened to so many teams.
Sign one or two
Mhm.
critical free agents and win a championship. And it'll all be
Right,
worth it.
exactly. It's the blueprint. Yeah. Yeah, so real quick, I mean, do you have anything from the NHL, like draft or like free agency that's notable? I think we got everything from the
I
NBA
mean,
right now.
we. I don't really have much time right now, but unless if you want to make that like a separate like mini episode or something, like that can be like 30 minutes, like one of these couple days,
We
and then
could,
we
yeah.
could just publish it out next week or
All
something.
right.
But
Yeah, we could. All right. Well,
yeah,
yeah, it sounds pretty good. I think that's probably a good idea. I think in the meantime, for this episode, it's been a good one. Cricket World Cup now in the past. Definitely NBA free agency is always probably, in my opinion, one of the most exciting ones. So definitely want to cover that. Also
yeah,
with the
because
draft going on, but
yeah, because
yeah, I think
Woj is
we
tweeting at
had a
three
great
thirty in the
conversation.
morning. I
Wait,
said because
oh, the planes landing.
Woj is tweeting at like 3:30 in the morning about Paul George. So
Yeah, no, that was
I
nuts.
don't think
Yeah.
many people in the world are doing that aside from Woj.
Yeah, no, that sounds nuts, but Woj and Shams. But yeah, I mean, anyway, NBA free agency certainly, always a buzz. It's always fun to see players changing teams like that, especially superstars. And yeah, I mean, I think that was a great discussion about where all the teams stand and future plans for the Nets, the Knicks, and so many others, and the Thunder. So we'll definitely see how things shake out. But in the meantime, this has been another episode of Sports Vibe. I'm Arnav Sarkar, as always, with Jitesh from Krishnan. And yeah, we'll see you for the NHL free agency special, I guess, if we can call it that. So definitely get one out there about the NHL draft and free agency. A short episode. But in the meantime, enjoy your July 4th, and we'll see you next time.